Oh wait, here we go. Are they in Archenwald? Looks like, yeah, I've just joined. I probably shouldn't be in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers and gamettes alike, welcome to Koalas Esports. My name is Sdogga Man. I am one of the staff from Koalas Esports and a fan of casting. And alongside me tonight on the desk, the virtual desk as it were, is the one and only aLL3gory. aLL3gory, hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Sdogga Man. Good to be here. Good to be involved in this event as well, and really good that we can be restreaming this fundraiser for Wires and contributing to a great cause this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited about this. And as you guys may be aware, we are streaming this, or to be precise, restreaming this right out of the back end of Zeigler Gaming's stream to OCEUnited. I forgot what I was going to say there. I was almost going to say we were streaming to Koalas Esports, but that's what we're doing.
It's a little bit of a piggyback on a piggyback, right? Which makes things a little bit confusing, but
well, that's right, yeah. But we're here to support them. They're doing the mainstream. They're doing a lot of hard work over there, and they've had a couple of issues, but we're ready to get started now. So we are streaming for exactly the same cause. We're streaming to support Wires, which is a fantastic Australian-based organisation that is doing a lot of good work out there. I encourage anyone watching at home to go over to the OCEUnited channel where the mainstream is. As I said, Zeigler Collective are streaming. They've got their own set of casters and their own streamer live right now. Please tune in, watch the stream, support the teams that are playing, and of course, donate with exclamation mark donate in the chat. But on our side of things, we're going to get ourselves over and casting this game. And aLL3gory, what are you looking at right now coming out of the gate?
So the interesting thing here as well is that we've got some quite fast-moving lineup in the red side here. I mean, the race going to be Initiate, and then they've got Signaling trying to double shield there. And on the blue side, we've got the classic Lion's Eye combination going on, which doesn't seem to start all that well, but they seem to be in control of the point.
Well, aLL3gory, that's exactly right. Astro Blades comes straight out of the gate with two quick pickoffs. Dropping down straight away. Look, the red team losing health like nobody's business straight out of the gate. Blue team fighting for a win here, and this is actually NEEKEW on the blue team, one of Koalas Esports' very own teams, with no ducks given playing on the red team, and forever takes home a pick on a healer. That's not going to help. You don't want to lose your healer, metaphorically or physically speaking. Muhaha's back on that. Hanzo taking a pick onto Widowmaker. This solidly goes into the favor of no ducks given. aLL3gory, what do you think needs to happen to the side of NEEKEW to counter this composition?
Well, it looked to me like they started that fight quite well. They got some good pressure and some early picks, and they were just unfortunate to be able to not close out the fight and push it off the point with the more durable double shield lineup on the red side here. So potentially as their ultimates build up over the coming battles, they should be able to maybe flip it back and get some presence back on the point, especially because that Ryan's Eye combination really does work as well as the fights draw on for longer brawls.
Well, that's exactly right. And here we see Muhaha taking a pick on an NK221. That is huge, but oh my god, a complete team wipe comes through for the side of NEEKEW, destroying no ducks given before I even had a chance to take a breath. aLL3gory, what the hell happened there?
Well, it's pretty much exactly what I was saying. It's just ultimates when they built up, it gave them a clear advantage in the fight, and they were able to just convert that into some really good, quick, easy wipes, team wipes, and recapture the point and flip it back in their favor. The challenge now will be
right.
how do they hold?
There's a great pick. Sorry to interrupt you there. Coming through from Milky onto Muhaha. That's got to hurt for the side of no ducks given, who just had a great performance. But now look at the team that's got the control here. NEEKEW on the point, ticking up their percentage and holding at that choke.
And even though the red team is building up their ultimates, they've got three ultimates here in advantage. They're quite defensive ultimates with the two tanks.
Oh, what a pick! Oh, there comes through the shatter coming straight through from NK221, and the team move on that like it's nobody's business. aLL3gory, look at that. They completely wiped the opponent team, and they're even chasing them right back to spawn. Oh, at the spawn doors. Orisa gets picked off.
And this is exactly what NEEKEW needs to do, is they just keep the pressure on there. They've got that much more brawly type combination. They really want to be taking fights on their terms. They've got the Reap and Recruit combination ready to go, and both ultimates up on these heroes too, so it's going to be quite hard for no ducks given to flip a fire and get back down unless they really take a good team fight.
Fully agree with that one. And here we see that amplification matrix coming through from the Baptiste. First pick on Forever, who drops like a stone out of the air. Unranked takes home Sudden Knight, killing off that Mei. And Metacrew is still here, fighting this fight doggedly. The point is ticking up past 85%. As we know, that is the important number. aLL3gory, they're going to have to do something a little bit different here if they want to touch this point.
Yeah, Reaper's still a good hero, isn't he? Look at that. So much close force damage. So hard to keep track of with his relocation ability as well.
That's exactly right. And there's the ult comes through, and it stops them from touching the point. That was really all Metacrew's, almost that entire fight there, aLL3gory.
Well, with the double tank lineup that NoDucksGiven were running, they had no choice but to run into fights. So Metacrew was able to hold the lines that they wanted to, and once they got control of the point, were able to set up where they want, and NoDucks had to come into their battlegrounds. It makes life a lot more difficult.
That's exactly what it looked like from my perspective as well. It seemed like every time that NoDucksGiven wanted to do something, you know, initiate a fight, try and touch the point, Metacrew were just there to sort of rotate on the spot like a turret and go, nope, I can still see you there, I'm gonna shoot at you.
And that's the advantage that a Reaper gives you as well. Sure that NoDucksGiven have the hands on now, which gives them that little bit more ability as well to come into these fights, but you've got a very enclosed map here as well, so Reaper's going to give you that ability to instantly get behind team, reposition the fight and do a lot more damage up close.
That's exactly right. Hanzo's not something I like to go into in my comp games, and speaking of which, another hero I hate to go up against is Mei. She takes home a pick onto healer, but Metacrew are just moving through this doggedly, coming straight around the corner, past the spawn doors. No, they're going to go all the way down to the point, down the stairs there. Cherry takes home a pick onto NEEKEW71.
Very split up here though.
That's right, they are all over the place, that's right. And Sudden Knight uses that to his advantage to take off a pick on Not a Weeb. We don't want to see a repeat of last map with this being very one-sided, but NoDucksGiven look like they've got the advantage right now.
They sure do. However, if you remember, they did start the first point with the first point possession in the last map as well. So let's see how Metacrew consolidates here to come back into this one.
That is true, you're quite right there, but Metacrew look like they're regrouping really, really quickly. And I still see that Reaper and Lucio moving about the place, you know. That's a very good combo to jump in behind people and try and do some damage. And what a boop, knocks everyone off of the top. Kind of discombobulating people a little bit, I think, but no, Metacrew just holding out, waiting for the right moment, you know.
Maywall didn't quite get the split they were looking for.
Here they come now, moving around the outside, down the stairs, looking to attack this point. NK2171, hard shielding here on the corner, but he gets frozen inside that nail. Milk takes a pick. Oh, what an ult from unranked top 500. There we go, McCree taking home 2 kills, 3 kills as a matter of fact with the Deadeye, and Astroblade and Healer to take home the rest, just for good measure. This is flipping back into the favor of Metacrew right now, and this is exactly what we saw last time, almost on exactly the same percentage, if I remember correctly.
It's definitely similar. So let's see if NoDucksGiven has a different approach this time. Whether they do either something with more mobile heroes, or they look to take the fight on their terms.
That's exactly right, but where's that Orisa going right now, aLL3gory? All the way around the backside? Are they going to move together? No, they are.
Now, yeah.
But Metacrew know what's going on. They can see they're not coming through one door, so they must be going to the next. Here they take a hard engagement, a huge shatter in the backline, but the Immort is up and ready to block all the damage and stop all the kills. They swing the hammer and do break the Immort, but the team gets out alive. This is great for NoDucksGiven. It's unfortunate they got ulted, but oh! Unranked to top 500 gets the pick right away.
McCree's doing a lot of work.
He is, yeah.
Huge DPS.
And that's exactly what McCree wants to do right now, is to be a real nuisance and take picks where possible. Don't overextend, don't get yourself, turned into a target, but definitely do some work, do some damage, get an ult up, be a real nuisance, a real thorn in their side.
What I'd like to see is the hands are actually taking a cross angle in these fights instead of being so with the team. Look at that, just destroyed instantly with the Lucio.
That's right. Now, we saw there Astroblade use that Graviton Surge to lock the team in place, but then it actually gets flipped back in favor of NoDux, and Astroblade never gets picked off. Takes that point control back almost from the hands of NoDucksGiven. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too separated once they used that grab, I think.
They lost their main movement in Lucio right at the start of the fight, and Hanzo with mobility, and that's a very a lot of damage and a lot of maneuverability taken out early on in the fight.
That's true. NEEKEW now moving around the outside of No Ducks Given, getting picked up in the air by the Sigma on the side of No Ducks Given, shielding forward. No picks to speak of so far. I speak too soon. NOTAWEEB takes home 3 with that Death Wasp from Reaper. Forever takes another weep home, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. No Ducks Given down 4 players now, with NEEKEW only losing the Reaper. That's a loss that they can easily sustain. Meanwhile, NEEKEW heading back to spawn with their tail between their legs. Ultimate used by Unranked to top 500 right away, just to try and pick off anyone that might come through, and that's exactly what he wants, because there's the ball, the Hammond pick, trying to jump on the point and stall it out for as long as they can, almost with overtime ticking down there. Ball's coming through again, being an annoying piece of crap in the backline, but it's not going to be enough. NEEKEW take another pick, there's the Shatter, take the kill as a matter of fact, and Healer's there to support them. And that map goes solidly in favor of NEEKEW.
And great just different styles of gameplay there to be able to see as well. The classic Ryan Zarya combination on one side, and then the double shield of Arista Sigma on the other. And while this one was definitely one-sided in the favour of NEEKEW, it doesn't necessarily mean all the maps are going to go that way. It'll be interesting to see how No Ducks Given recovers on the next map.
Oh,
because
what a play.
when it
And
works,
that's right. I fully
Press
agree there. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's interesting to see, because one of my favorite compositions to play does involve Brian Zarya. I like to play Zarya a lot. I feel pretty comfortable playing in that composition, but they played it almost in, No Ducks Given played against it almost in a way that didn't quite make sense. Do you agree if I say that, they sort of didn't really at any point block the correct thing? They didn't block the McCree if he was coming behind them and ulting, or the Zarya with the grab, or the Rhine with the Shatter. They seem to have all of their abilities, but none of not quite aimed in the correct direction.
Yeah, it just felt exactly right, Sdogga. I agree with what you're saying there. It just felt like they had no ability to stop the Ryan Zarya combo just walking over top of them. They were playing the Hanzo on the range, they're playing Arista and Sigma, want to keep at least a little bit of a gap on the brawl, whereas Ryan and Zarya with the Lucio on the back just want to get straight on top of you as quick as they can. And on those control maps where you're really fighting over that central ground and it encourages close quarters combat, it's going to be harder to keep that brawly combination away, and they didn't really have a hero to deter that kind of fight.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually, and that's exactly how it looked. It seemed like they moved fast, but they didn't move away fast enough, if that makes sense. Sort of to the side or backwards whenever their opponent would push into them. And on the side of NEEKEW, of course, they just came straight forwards. They had the Lucio speed boost. They jump in. Shadow was there. It almost happened too quick to react.
The interesting thing, though, was that No Ducks Given did manage to take the point on the first push on both occasions, which means when ultimates aren't a consideration and when it's a pretty neutral kind of battleground, they were able to come out on top, whether it was mechanical skill or a little bit of better teamwork. But once the fights become either a little bit more erratic or there was some movement before the fight breaks out, they seem to struggle a little bit more on that level.
That's right. Yeah, that's kind of how it looked to me as well. But I'm glad I'm glad you sort of backed that up with your own in your own mind. So we are getting ourselves set up for a second round here. Of course, the loser has picked the next map. So
looks like
sorry,
it's
has
going to
the
be Numbani.
Yeah, the loser picked the next map.
Hybrid.
Correct, yeah. Numbani coming out next. This is, once again, just a reminder, the OCEUnited stream. This is being hosted by the Zeigler Collective, a fantastic Australian-based organisation that I'm very fond of. All credit for tonight's stream goes to goes to Kiefer and Neek, who is handling the stream for tonight for the Zeigler Collective. We are restreaming this out of the back of their stream. We're all sitting in the spectator lobby right now. And Blob is on the stream desk. You may remember him from earlier today if you tuned in to OCEUnited when we were live, actually the three of us this afternoon. It's all for the cause of wires. So we're streaming tonight, early today, all day tomorrow, all for the cause of this charity. All donations will go directly to them, and
So
we'll
why
be
is
raising
it?
awareness here.
Yep, the New South Wales Wildlife Information Rescue and Education Service Incorporated.
Yeah. I hadn't heard that before. As a matter of fact, is that actually an acronym?
It's their acronym. So they're in New
Ah,
South Wales, and yeah, I'll say it again just a bit more slowly, I guess. So Wildlife Information Rescue and Education Service.
see, I knew they had to be something to do with that, but I didn't actually know what that meant.
Yeah. So rescuing and caring for wildlife for over 30 years, and is the largest wildlife rescue organisation in Australia.
Wow, 30 years worth of wildlife help.
Quite impressive, and they've also worked with other organisations as well, such as WWF, the National Parks Association, Humane Society International. There's a few more on their website rather than just reading it word for word from their site. I recommend everybody go and have a look at it. It's wires.org.au.
Ah, that is crazy. Yeah, so they're actually supporting other charities and other groups that are trying to do good around the place. Not just by raising money and donating it, but also by donating some of their time and awareness. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and they go on to elaborate a little bit more about they generally receive a couple of 100,000 unique visitors a year to their organisation. They've been around for a long time, but when there's crises such as the bushfires that have devastated large parts of Australia over the last few months, they receive upwards of millions of visitors every few days.
Wow, that is nuts. And I believe I actually heard a number earlier on. It might have been from you actually. That was something along the lines of the fact that they get several 100,000 views a year on their website, and only in the past few days, that's actually been millions.
Yep, exactly right.
That
So it just
is
goes to show that
crazy.
Australia and the world is always looking to do something whenever these bushfires or natural emergencies occur. And it's great that we have that community spirit within this country. And obviously, it's devastating what has happened, but it's good to know that people are always looking to help out wherever they can.
That is absolutely nuts. Yeah, just the sheer number of people that are looking to help. It's crazy to think that we've been able to make such a difference as a community. I mean, I know many hands make light work, but sometimes it's just staggering to see just how much light work you can make.
Absolutely.
And it's even more awesome to see the gaming community come together as they have like this. We've already made a lot of money for the Wires charity only in the streams we've done so far, and it's only going to get better. But, aLL3gory, we're back in the game, and we can see Metacrew and No Ducks Given preparing to fight on Numbani. aLL3gory, what are you looking for to happen in this match?
So I just want to confirm to make sure we've got the teams have actually swapped colours from last map. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, you are correct. No Ducks Given is now on the blue side, and Metacrew is on the red side.
Sure. So what I might point out is on Numbani, it's called a hybrid map. So a little bit different to the control map we just witnessed before. What the teams are looking to do here is, in the first case, they're looking to free up point A and get this cart moving and freed up so they can then push it and escort it through to the end of the map. And that's why it's called a hybrid, for the capture and then escort parts of the map. Interestingly enough, we've got a double pharmacy battle going on, which is always fun to see.
And Sudden Night is just running ham all over the squishy heroes of Metacrew right now, alongside Muhaha on Tracer.
It's the old misdirection. You've got the one thread up in the sky flying around, raining damage from above, and the other one nimbly jumping around the back lines.
Or what I like to call the pincer maneuver. You have a smaller claw and a bigger claw closing in around the enemy team.
The classic bait and switch.
Divide and conquer?
So Metacrew seem to be setting up to dive in, losing their Pharah and start the fight. That obviously makes it different, but they've committed to the battle anyway.
Unfortunately, yeah, you don't want to lose that Pharah early on. And there's several different fights going on right now, aLL3gory. Either side of the map, in the back rooms that we call blue, that back hallway there, most of the teams are fighting in there. Muhaha gets a great kill onto healer. That is fantastic with that pulse bomb. That's exactly what you want. And Idolda has also taken home a pick onto NK2 2171. This seems to be going in favor of No Ducks Given right now, aLL3gory.
It definitely does. And if you remember, they decided to commit to the dive anyway, even though they lost their healer at the start of the fight.
That's exactly right. It seems to have worked out for them, at least a little bit, but they want to be careful that they don't lose too many heroes too early on, otherwise this is going to be really, really tough for them.
Looks like we're moving around to a coast battle this time around.
Yeah, this is really strange. We actually haven't seen many fights go on the point as opposed to different parts of the map. I wonder if No Ducks Given on the defensive side is attempting to hold them before they touch the point, buy themselves respawn time. As I say that though, here they come, dashing in with that Nano Blade. Genji in the backline. Immortality is up and he's forced to target that first, but it does not matter. He takes home Doshi. NotAweeb also going ham all over that Orisa. His team is there to back him up and he takes that pick just by melee striking iDolda. It's over for iDolda. And now we've got Wrecking Ball moving around the point, forever trying to break those mines, but the mines are up and he doesn't want to get hit by them. They're all over the point and Metacrew are diving in hard. Forever rolls around, but unfortunately collects up about 4 of those mines and gets himself wiped out in the process, and Depression takes home that kill for free.
Gonna keep somebody on the point to actually capture it.
That's right. Unfortunately, Muhaha's forced to back himself away, and the point goes over to Medical.
So now we get to see the second part of the hybrid map, where the attacking team will have to escort this painfully slow-moving objective as it meanders through the map.
I hope all cars aren't as slow as the objectives in Overwatch times, otherwise we've got a really bad future to look forward to, Mr. aLL3gory.
It is carrying very important cargo though, or at least it was. There's a whole lot to follow about that.
Too true. A little bit of a scuffle going on just ahead of that little bus sitting on the map there. Unfortunately no picks apart from a knockout to iDolda's bongos. No damage boost for that side. As I speak though, Muhaha takes home the pick on NotAweeb, which is definitely going to help the side of No Ducks Given, but that is not the end of the road for Metacrew, not at all.
So Metacrew are now waiting for their respawns and they're going to have another go at getting back to this guy and getting it escorted.
What's interesting is how close No Ducks Given are actually sitting here without moving too far forward. I'm aware that they're trying to, hold back and not get any picks, but they had an advantage, they chose not to use it.
Noticing they've definitely got the Metacrews running the Reinhardt skill, which they were enjoying last time, but they've headed up to Orisa this time around instead of with the Zaya.
That's true, and Metacrew are slowly cleaning up this match here. It's less of a fight and more of just a slow clearing out of the opponent, sorry. And they've definitely left that car completely clear for them to push ahead. However, No Ducks Given are on their way back in, and they've got plenty of respawns with that Wrecking Ball jumping around all over the place. Moving through the archways. They want to get back and contest this as soon as they can, otherwise if they do get picked off, they won't actually be able to respawn in time to touch this point again. Here they go. Oh, there goes the ultimate used by Sudden Knight. Takes home 2 with a barrage kill, and Josh is there to clean up. A couple picks as well from Metacrew. This isn't entirely No Ducks' fight to win.
However, the resurrection from the Mercy really brings the numbers back in their favour.
That's correct, and now that they've got the cart back under their control, they can afford to move ahead. But what's going on here? Guys, turn around. Turn on your headphones. The cart's pushing. It's over. You've lost the point in the back by a huge C9 for No Ducks Given. Guys, look at what's going on. Across the top, you've got a bar that shows you. Sudden Knight takes home unranked as well, but they've got the res there. aLL3gory, how could they let that happen, dude?
Oh, it's happened to all of those, and it's the best feeling as well when you are that person with the ninja bush. You're sitting there hiding beside the cart and nobody's coming for you. You think it's too true, and then you get the objective and it all works out. But it is a little bit of an oversight.
Oh yeah, if I'm No Ducks Given, I feel a little bit of performance anxiety right now, having dropped the ball like that after winning a fight so convincingly.
Good thing nobody was watching.
Yeah, definitely no one was watching at all. We missed that. Turns out they've actually pushed through almost all the way to point 3 right now, which means that No Ducks are looking at a loss on this side of the round if they're not careful. There's the mines dropped on point, but the shatter comes through, completely knocks them out. The card is clear and Forever's gets stunned just for good measure. Immort's used, but Genji Blade on the outside. No nano, just a plain old Genji Blade. He does take home Doshi, and Cherry drops to NK22171. The bongos are picked out by Muhaha, but other than that, nothing special. And Reinhardt is just going completely mental on this card. And that's the end of that map for No Ducks Given as Metacrew push it all the way home.
So it's an interesting way the fights work out like that. The Lucio and Reinhardt are pretty free to take side brawls wherever they want because of their speed and mobility with the two of them working together, and the fact that they're pretty durable when they're off together, which really creates a lot of chaos in the battles.
Yeah, it really does, and we saw that in that first round there when both teams were fighting each other in disconnected little groups. You know, up the top of the first point, in the back, in the blue corridor, on the coast side of things. You know, there were definitely fights. There was definitely a sort of a team fight of a kind, but there was never really any, you know, sort of conceited push to touch that point.
Exactly right.
So what do you think we'll see being run here to attack now that the team's sides have swapped?
So I think we're going to see, you know, if they actually roll out, and maybe a Junkrat rolling out on this map by the looks of things here from Metacrew, which is a different style of playing, but the same kind of concept of just a disruptive hero where it means that the battles aren't going to be in one location. It's going to be all over the place. Lots of damage if you misstep. Lots of chaos, and it seems to be very much the method of operation for this team.
Yeah, it really does, and I guess that's the way that they roll. No pun intended with the wrecking ball pick there, but they seem to like to move fast and not really care about exactly where they're going, as long as they're able to win a fight by doing it.
Interesting to see, because Unranked to 500 did really well on McCree in the last map as well. So imagine he's going to be putting a lot of damage with that McCree again. And it's really going to punish these dives if they don't execute them just right.
Well, that's exactly right, and we can see him sneaking his way over to where that Tracer is in the back of the map right now. And she's forced to back off. Wrecking Ball is there too, but there's not much he can do on his own. Winston jumping in over the top there, but they've got Immortality up in that little corner there, blocking all kill damage. Muhaha takes the first pick home onto Not a Weeb, which is fantastic for the side of No Ducks Given, but Sudden Night as well in with Healer, and Doshi takes Depression home for a ride. Unranked is still there though, and he's taking a few no, he's dropped to Doshi. This looks like No Ducks' map.
And they pushed that very effectively. First push in very quickly. The Tracer got an early pick at the start of the fight, and they managed to make the split battle work in their favor. And
oh,
yes.
Just the cleanup in the back line there by Forever on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to see.
That was a very, very determined push from No Ducks Given there, aLL3gory.
Yeah, they've got the objective rolling much more quickly than Metacrew did, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with this time advantage. The Far Mercy is definitely working well for them.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be contested too much, even though Metacrew have have Unranked to 500 sitting on that McCree. It doesn't seem to be contesting Sudden Night all that much.
Well, it's also difficult as well because they've got the Winston and the Hammond creating so much chaos that it's hard for the McCree to get a clean shot.
There goes the barrage, but it's straight on the corner of a shield and gets killed and just knocks herself completely out with those rockets. You don't want to be in the explosive range of your own projectiles there, aLL3gory, and Idolda jumps in to take home Milk as well. This is a kind of uneven fight right now, but it seems to be going in favor of Metacrew, judging by the numbers on its own, and Not a Weeb definitely evens that out for him by cleaning up Forever on Wrecking Ball. Plenty of ults on the side of No Ducks Given. Very similar numbers on the side of Metacrew, but Metacrew stand on that cart.
When was the last time you saw a classic Tracer on Tracer duel in a match?
Honestly, I actually can't remember. I've seen things like that. I've seen people duel Tracer and Tracer be played, but I don't think I've seen Tracer on Tracer. Not for quite a while, at least.
Handed that one.
That's for sure. Yeah, taking home Muhaha on the side of No Ducks, but No Ducks have their spawn doors right there. You know, this is point 1, and spawn is only, you know, what, maybe 30 meters away, whereas Metacrew have a big distance to run if they get picked off here, so they want to be very careful, hold as aggressively as they can, so don't get picked off.
So you can see another mechanic there as well, as the objective cart slowly rolled backwards while none of the blue team are touching it.
That's correct, and as we speak, Forever drops those mines down on point, but the Zenyatta ult comes through and he completely destroys them, negating any value that ult had from Forever. Muhaha's going completely mental on the back lines of Metacrew, and unranks to 500 drops because of it. Unfortunately, they've sort of left the card alone a little bit here, and Forever gets to be revived, meaning that No Ducks are actually going to push this card a bit further and take the advantage.
Certainly seems that way.
Moving through
Metacrew's
now
full
on that
victory.
objective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. No Ducks are slowly pushing that objective forward, and I don't think Meta are going to be able to touch here, even if they want to. So they're going to have to try and set up a defense now on third point. Do you think Metacrew are going to be able to hold this aLL3gory, or do you think No Ducks are going to push through?
Well, they've got the McCree ultimate ready, so that'll be an interesting one. At least they should be able to win one fight on the back of that, depending on placement.
And here comes the engagement right now with that Justice coming through, raining down a lot of damage onto her opponents, but doesn't really do much except for take home bongos. That doesn't matter though, because Muhaha is there in the backline, and now Forever is running through, trying to drop down on that point and pick up as many enemies as he can. Doesn't pick any up, but he's still being an annoyance, forcing the team to turn around and look at him. This seems like Metacrew have the advantage right now. There isn't really anyone there to back him up, and they do pull back a little bit, even getting knocked down by Shatter, but it doesn't matter. It actually goes in the other direction, with Muhaha taking another pick home on Not a Weeb. Immortality now used by the side of Metacrew, and Unranked uses that to his advantage to take Forever back to spawn. Idolden is now dropping that Winston ult in the middle of the team, knocking people around, and this is slowly moving in the favor of No Ducks right now, aLL3gory, and I gotta take a breath.
Exactly. What's really been evident watching these fights for ACAS that this Farah is just completely uncontested up in the sky. Southern Knight is just having pretty much a free game and really enjoying that space and just raining damage down and justice when the time comes.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and speaking of raining damage, there's Forever raining a whole bunch of mine-based damage down onto the side of Metacrew. He picks on 3 ults, including both of the supports, and that's it. No Ducks take that win home, almost completely off of the back of those mines from Forever.
And a minute and 35 seconds faster than the time in which Metacrew was able to push through.
That's right. Yeah, that was a very convincing push, although they did have a couple of staggers there, if you ask me.
Yes, they did. And of course, the main objective you're fighting against this whole time is the clock. It's one of the things that both teams have to keep their eye on at all times, and you have to make calls very quickly about whether or not you're going to make a play, deciding on whether or not you're going to be gaining time or losing time in the battle by the execution of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and you could actually use that as a metaphor for just about anything, really. Even if you are defending, you're still fighting the clock because there's a certain number of fights and a certain number of abilities, I suppose, if you want to count ultimates and things as just a matter of time before they get built. You know, for you to counter them before you get the win. So I guess that speaks to you know, not giving up and not saying it's over until you see that victory or defeat screen pop up on your display.
Absolutely. So it seems like No Ducks are going to be rolling out with their very mobile, a combination of mobile though. They've got the Orisa on defense, and then
hopefully it works for them.
Metacrew switch it over to the Genji instead of the Tracer this time around.
Well, there's the first pick coming through from Idolden, sending Milk back to spawn. The advantage here, of course, for Metacrew is that they do have their spawn a far bit closer than No Ducks given, so they have the advantage to go back and reset. Unfortunately, the timer wants to disagree with that because they only have just over 30 seconds left right now to do something meaningful. Sudden Knight takes a pick home on Depression. This might actually be the only fight we see with the timer ticking down to 25 seconds. Milk takes home a pick onto Not a Weeb. Not a Weeb takes home Muhaha. Sudden Knight is still in there doing his thing, but it's not enough for the side of No Ducks given, with Metacrew cleaning up their opponents. This may not... That's it. That's the rest of the people they had alive. It's just Forever rolling around now, and he gets taken right out of the fight just mere seconds before this map ends. They will cap the objective, and I don't think No Ducks are even going to be able to touch this.
Metacrew did really well to turn that battle around from the early picks that they lost at the start of the fight, and they still managed to execute their damage more cleanly, and are now able to get onto the point. The interesting mechanic that's played here is the overtime mechanic, meaning that if Metacrew leave the cart entirely or are pushed off it at all, the round will end.
Well, that is exactly right, and they are pushing this hard. They almost all walked off there if it wasn't for Arissa's halt to pull them back on. Sudden Knight dropping that barrage, takes 2 home, and that's it. She cleaned the cart dry of her opponents. And now as we move on to round 4, the opponent only has to move the cart a tiny bit further beyond first point to win.
Initiating match.
So they're going to be looking for a full hold in defense here. It's not even giving them a chance to start rolling the cart forward, because if it gets to that point, they're going to be really up against it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, their spawn moves back quite a long distance, and if that happens, that's over. aLL3gory, what would you be doing here in this situation if you're playing on the team, on the side of No Ducks Given defending this now? Sorry, Metacrew defending this. I apologize. What would you be doing to try and? Well, yeah, I kind of looked at the arrows, and the red one is coming from attack, and the blue one's coming from defense, and I sort of just, you know, I correlated that to the team colors. Anyway.
So they've done exactly what I was hoping to see, in that they've done something a little bit more point present durable. So they've got a Reaper has self-heal ability, they've got a Roadhog with self-heal ability. They're still running the Reinhardt and the Lucio for that brawly type battle, but what they're really looking to do here is just to not die, basically. They want to make sure these fights go as long and as possible to really wind down that clock.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think I would want to do as well if I were in this situation. It's kind of backed up against the wall, but they could pull this off. They definitely have the ability to hook and completely knock out some of their opponents.
They're up against very mobile heroes, though, on the other side, with the Hammond, the Winston, the Far Mercy, and the Tracer.
And that's true. They've got that little compression blast coming through from Farah, not doing anything really. They're just sitting there on that high ground, completely stable. A little bit of time moved on the point there, but not enough to get even one tick. And aLL3gory actually takes the first pick onto unranked to 500. That's huge. Immortality used and drops, but that's okay. Metacrew have everyone that they need online right now. If they can just take a few picks home, they're forced into the back room right now and off to the cart, which is not good for them, but NK takes aLL3gory back to spawn as well.
Depression as well there to pick off the not so mobile Zenyatta.
And misses that hook into Sudden Knight, who was sitting on the high ground there, just spamming those rockets in. They have control of the point, Metacrew, right now, but Sudden Knight is right there knocking on the door saying, hey, I'm here, I'm about to jump in, get ready. That's right, yeah. aLL3gory also gets the support from Mercy, who's sitting up there, who has not been able to be picked off yet, and Forever now rolls in. This means that No Ducks Given is coming back, and there's Sudden Knight with that barrage taking 2 home. This is not good for the side of Metacrew. They're going to lose this point if they're not careful. Reaper is still there, however. It's not going to matter. He's not there now. Forever rolling around the point. It's just Lucio rolling through. He's going to get picked off if he's not careful, and the point will tick up for No Ducks Given. This is exactly what we didn't want if we're rooting for Metacrew right now. aLL3gory, they've lost, and they have to come back from spawn. It's a long, long walk.
Going to be tricky. They're going to have to contest very quickly as well, which means they're going to be walking to a fight they possibly don't want to take. They have got a couple of ults to play with, but they're going to really have to get up there and make sure that cart doesn't move too far at all.
Well, that's right, and believe it or not, Metacrew are actually all here and taking picks home with that Reaper to touch point. They might be able to get on, and they almost lose it at 48. 0.48 of a meter, away, but Metacrew do have this in their pocket. The mines are all over point, but they're able to stop the team from touching. It's contested with Forever just sitting behind it. Forever, it seems. And they come through with those mines. Muhaha takes a pick home on the Milk. That's not going to help. Forever jumping around now with Reaper as well, doing his thing. Getting a whole bunch of damage done. Depression jumping around, and there's the Zenyatta the Zenyatta ult coming through. Doshi taking NK home. Sudden Knight spams it through. 0.48 of a meter away. It's just Depression left on this card. Overtime comes through, and there is the final piece of movement right at the end with No Ducks Given taking that win in overtime. What a hold. aLL3gory, walk me through that.
Very, very well executed. And it was just a case of they used the barrage to get the advantage, to get to win on point A, so they could get the cart moving. And then once they had that fight advantage, it was just a case of they had the spawn advantage. It was always going to be hard to hold for a minute and a half when you have to fight right at the opponent's spawn door. It means even if you get some slight execution advantages in your hero play, you're already up against a numbers game from the start, and Nodox was just able to play it out.
And that's exactly right. And we can see that in reflected play of the game there with that Genji play just always being really, really effective.
And just the really high mobility heroes as well made it so hard to keep track of who was where in the fights. So we're back in the lobby now and waiting for Meta Crew to pick the next map and see what we'll be moving on to for the next round. So as exciting as it is to have the Diamond players executing the games for us this evening, it does mean we're likely to see what's known as meta. So the teams we play heroes are going to be more effective. They're going to be going for strategies that combo together, and they're really going to be playing the game in the way designed to get results. Means we're probably not so likely to see any of the fun picks or the off meta combinations that people might be hoping for, or idea of why the meta may be going. And one of the things that does happen in the game is that as balance patches and as the game goes through different versions, different heroes rise and fall. But we're not likely to see too much variation beyond what we've already seen this evening, I would have thought. It does seem like we might be moving to Kings next. Kings is Kings Row. And this is going to be another hybrid map. So similar concept to what we've just seen on Numbani, where the first set of objectives is to capture the first point, point A, to free up the cards so that way it can then be escorted through the rest of the map. Usually you wouldn't have hybrid map on hybrid map like this, but we're here for a charity. We're here to raise money for a good cause, and so it's just so the teams can do what they enjoy playing.
Well, that's exactly right, aLL3gory. And speaking of which, if you guys are watching this this stream, no matter where you're watching, whether it's via the Koalas Esports channel, which of course you must be watching if you're hearing our lovely voices coming straight into your ears, or whether you're watching this over on the OCEUnited channel, if you're just flicking between the two, to see what's going on each side of things. First of all, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Second of all, no matter which chat you choose to pick to type in, please go ahead and type !donate or !dono in the chat. You will get a link that will pop up straight to the donation page for Wires. That is the charity that we are supporting tonight. No matter which stream you are on, we as Koalas Esports here on this channel are doing our best to help support OCEUnited and whoever happens to be streaming the event currently on that channel. And part of that is the fact that we are also supporting that donation link. So please go ahead and type !dono or donate in the chat, and that will take you to the donation link. No matter how much you can or cannot spend tonight, we really appreciate every single cent. And even more than us, the people who receive your money directly over at Wires really, really do appreciate it.
Exactly. It's going to a good cause, and that the wildlife rescue and information services will be able to utilize that and make sure it's going to the places that need it the most. So it does look like we're going to have Metacrew on the red and Nodox on the blue for Kings Row.
Kings Row. Initiating match.
It'd be interesting to see, as I said, whether or not they decide to go with anything fun for a different pick, or whether they stick with the more meta stuff and use it as practice for the upcoming rounds of competitions that we're moving into.
That's exactly right. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Kings Row is one of my favorite maps. Actually, I kind of wish we were running it in Christmas mode, because I'm a big fan of the Christmas version of this map. But it is not to be. Unfortunately, Christmas has been and gone here in Australia. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I'm pretty sure that's the universal sentiment. Whether you're a parent or a kid, I'm sure you're not happy to see it go, and you wish it was Christmas every day. Isn't that right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The Christmas map definitely brings a different flavour to the map and makes it a little bit more interesting. And the contrast is sometimes a little bit easier to make the shots on as well, which I actually find to be a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, that's quite true. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like it because it's too dark, or they say it's great because it makes things stand out. I really like how much it stands out, but my monitor doesn't do very well in dark scenes. So I'm
Just
here or
gotta
there about it.
ramp the brightness up and burn your retinas out, and that way you'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. If you can't see, you can't be doing bad at the game, or at least you won't know if you're doing bad.
Exactly, it'll all look like a perfect amount.
He
So
says
we
as if
have got
headphones don't exist.
so we have got a pause here as it looks like one of the No Ducks players has dropped out momentarily, so we'll just be waiting for them to rejoin back in.
That's right, and he won't be too far away. Based on the Twitch chat that you can see on your screen, or at least if you're watching on the OCEUnited side of things, you're getting a very raw, very straight out of the back end of the game type of stream. And yeah, they are just getting a quick reset going on. So now is a good time for me to remind you, if you have just joined us here on the Koalas Esports channel, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we are doing this all to support first the Zeigler Collective and second Wires, which is a fantastic charity. aLL3gory,
Great as the yeah, go on, mate.
no, that's all right. I was just going to say, I was actually approached by some of the other guys from these orgs to help out with Wires, and I was already straight behind it. But you and a couple of the other casters who you'll see joining us tomorrow night in the show match that ends off the stream are actually they have personal experience with Wires or charities like them, and I really like to hear those stories. If people are interested in sharing them, of course.
Yeah, it'd be
A
great
lot
to
of them
get
are very heartwarming.
Yeah, it'd be great if people do have stories and they want to share those of what either Wires or other organisations have done for them if they've been affected by the fires and they've had some assistance, or if they're looking for assistance and want to see if these organisations can reach out to them. Any stories like that where the community and these kind of events, if we could do anything to help, we obviously do what we can, and be happy to hear those stories and share them and talk to people
Yeah,
on stream.
exactly. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of people have been affected by the bushfires here in Australia, no matter
Attackers incoming
who
in 30
or
seconds.
what exactly it is that's happened. It's been almost a universally tragic thing that's going on, and of course it happens every year, but this year has been incredibly, I guess not incredibly, but far worse, and it's helped to put it into perspective for everyone around the world watching that this is a real this really happens, and it really does. It I don't want to say anything too negative, because we're all here for a good cause, a positive cause, but yeah, it does threaten lives for people and animals all over the place.
Sure does. What I was going to say on a bit of a side note is, and Stoggy, you know a little bit more about the situation on the scenario, is just a little bit about some of the other organisations that are working together with over the weekend and what you know about them, or different people within them, and which made this combined streaming weekend even possible.
Well, yeah, that's I guess I do. We're part of yeah, we're streaming here from Koalas Esports, of course. Yourself and myself, aLL3gory, both members of that organization. Um, I hope we'd say it's the best, but as a matter of
It's easily the best one we're in.
exactly, yeah, I agree. But in reality, we're one of, say, 10 to 15 different organizations based in Australia and New Zealand. And OCEUnited is part of a collaboration between primarily six of those organizations. It's a small startup, but we're going to expand as we can. And the entire goal of it is to bring quality streams and charity-based content. We don't have none of us have the intention of streaming for self-growth, even if it is growth to put back into the organization. We unanimously all said as soon as we joined, I'd love to do this. I want to donate to charities. I want to stream all the time and help out as many people as we can. And this is the first of hopefully many of those type of streams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a collaboration between our org, Koalas Esports, Succ Gaming, PPE, Paper Planes Esports, Disconnected Esports, the Zeigler Collective, and AOE. And I don't think I'm missing anyone, but if I am terribly sorry because I'm doing that all off of memory.
I kind of put you on the spot there for that one, so my apologies for that one as well. But it's great to see the community collaborating and working together as well. It's also pretty interesting to see. I don't know if you've been reading the chat while this is happening as to why we've had this second port stock. I don't know if you caught that one.
No, I actually didn't. What was that?
Spider on the desk, so just Australian things.
Okay. Just Australian things, of course. I didn't have one on the desk, but I did have one on the ceiling earlier, so I count a little bit. Yeah.
It's probably up there fighting off the drop bears.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, that's where they collate all the time. That's where they have their meetings on the ceiling.
Absolutely.
Speaking of meetings, there's a meeting of the team wipes going on right now. In the middle of this game, we've just got the first fight of the first point unwrapping as we speak, and you know, coming into this, Metacrew almost looked like they were going to take that victory, and then No Ducks just turned around and said, "Nah, we got a hammer."
Oh, UA as well as one of the other organisations.
That's right. Sorry, I forgot UA, but don't take that to heart, please, UA. I promise it wasn't deliberate. I just couldn't remember.
So we've got a Ryan Zaya versus Ryan Zaya battle going on this map. So changing meta comps from the two teams.
Oh, Shadow comes through and takes Knight out of the fight. It's Older takes that home all the way back to spawn. This might be going in the favor of No Ducks Given right now with 3 solid picks and Metacrew just on the back foot the whole time. Point will not go any further than 1 tick.
That's absolutely correct. So the losing track name. So No Ducks in the blue held the point very well there. They've got some great defensive ults to work with as well. So they've got the May ult in Blizzard. They've got the Zaya Grav, and they've got.
There's both May ults coming out at the same time with Snowball covering the map in a blizzard of snow. It Older got the nano boost coming through with that very, very powerful hammer swinging around, but he's forced to take a little bit of cover while he takes damage. Of course, being in the front of the team, everyone's going to shoot at him. Doesn't matter though, because Metacrew are pulling back. They've lost some of their heroes. They're going to have to be very careful here, or they will feed a ton of ult to their enemy.
So Metacrew having to consolidate again and look for another push. And they've got Shadow to work with, but they're up against the Grav coming into this fight as well. But they're very close to Moral, and so they've got their own Shatter on the defense as well.
Let's see if they use it this fight, aLL3gory, because NK2171 has the only ultimate online for the side of Metacrew. It comes through, but it doesn't find anyone. Shatter, meanwhile, on the side of No Ducks Given, does pick one person off the ground, but doesn't matter. No picks coming through. Doshi actually takes the first pick home on NK221. Depression as well is there. Takes 2 on the side of No Ducks Given, and Metacrew return with another 2 picks. Muhaha drops that ultimate to Death Blossom right behind his opponent's backside. And again, Metacrew are forced to come back and reset. aLL3gory, are they going to have to do something different here?
It does seem. It seems like No Ducks are very comfortable in this Ryan Zaya combination. They're very comfortable with the May and Reaper. It's a very, very flexible combination, and surprised we're not seeing any of the Far Mercy play that we've seen from Metacrew at other times this evening. That extra angle in the air. Yeah, exactly. There's just a variation. That uncontested flying hero gives them a different angle to work with.
Oh no, aLL3gory, look, there was those double grabs holding each other back, at the same time, but thrown in right behind them. That May ult freezes the team stuck in the grab, and there's a complete team wide on the side of No Ducks Given. Metacrew are going to have to rush out of the gates here with 20 seconds left. This is their last fight. What are they going to do here?
Well, it doesn't look like it's swapping anything, so I guess they're really hoping that they can get something out of... They're going to have another Shatter, so there's going to be another Shatter on Shatter fight coming into this battle. And they're going through Hotel.
Well, they are taking it right down to the last second right now, but that's good. A good pick. Astroblade comes taking Cherry home. As Shatter used, but doesn't find anyone inside of No Ducks Given, and Metacrew they look like they might be taking this. They've got that amplification matrix up in the doorway, throwing through the healing. Nottaweb actually looking to use his ultimate through, but there's no one there to kill. Everyone is already dropped on the side of No Ducks Given, and right at the last second, aLL3gory, they flipped the point in their own favor.
They certainly did, and it looks like that different angle by coming through Hotel, getting that early pick, and being able to bring some chaos into the battle really worked in their favor.
Definitely, yeah. It seems like they needed to do that from the start, but it could also be the fact that they had a couple more ultimates online, or were No Ducks Given just not expecting them to actually touch and do it in such a well grouped way.
Yeah, it did seem like the Ana especially was caught out. I really wasn't expecting that angle, and going down so early in the fight is such a key part of that battle, especially because anti-nade is such an important swing in these kind of brawly fights.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And speaking of which, no anti-nade used right now, but immortality used on the side of Metacrew. There's a hammer down used inside where that little mini health pack is in the library there, or sorry, not the library, in the hotel. Doesn't matter though, because Unranked is now on the Zarya, and that aim from before is deadly. He's just going all the way through the middle of No Ducks Given and taking them all apart.
And good observation there as well, because Unranked was definitely playing the DPS slot earlier before, and is now moved over to the Zarya and playing in the tank role. So it just shows that very flexible player.
Exactly, but a very deadly one if you've got good aim, which I would hazard a guess that Unranked top 500 does.
I'd say you're right on the money there, Sdogga. It seems like Not a Weed's doing a pretty good account of himself on the McCree though as well, so a little bit of good aim all round, it would seem.
Too true, yeah, too true. Well, this is, after all, the Diamond 6v6 tournament, so I guess I would call everyone really good, being a hard stuck gold myself, so you know. Diamonds are kind of like magic to me. I don't really understand it, but I know it's got something to do with skill. Oh no, speaking of skill right now, just deadly, dirty skill on the side of Unranked to 500, all the way up at the spawn doors.
Wouldn't have guessed that it took them until the last second to push in to get the cart moving in the first place, with the ease at which they've escorted through.
Considering there hasn't, yeah, exactly. Considering there hasn't even been a touch to this point, you know, they haven't even been contested. That Blizzard comes out from May and they don't even take a pick home in it. They do get a pick because of it, but Cherry is the one taking that home, and it's still only one pick, which means Metacrew have plenty of room to back up here and still deal damage. Muhaha wants to push up, but his team behind him are fighting. The card's being left alone, guys. Turn around and help them out. I know you're getting picks, but help out the card. Do not C9 this again. Healer is the only one on there. And yes, No Ducks Given will retain access to this point right now, but only with 2.18 meters worth of breathing room.
And it did look like that card almost could have been pushed through the end for a moment there, except Metacrew themselves walked away from it when they had two heroes close by.
Well, that's exactly right. Not a wee picks off Sudden Knight, which is really bad. And now you see them speeding in with the fury of 1,000 suns. There's the grab that comes through. Amplification Matrix used, but no one's able to shoot through it because the team is already through that Matrix. Astroblade with Forever just knocks him all the way back to spawn. This is not going to help. They're all walled off now. It's a split fight, but No Ducks Given have more of the advantage on the cart. They're forced to charge out. Everyone's charging straight away from the cart. Guys, the point is in that direction. It's over there. Go fight in that direction. They are back on cart, and now it's a complete all-out brawl. aLL3gory, what am I looking at right now?
You're looking at Mayhem, Sdogga. That's what you're looking at, but it does look
it
like
sure looks like it.
Metacrew's really figured out what works for them. They've got that brawl and that hectic fire moving all over the place.
Oh no! Oh, It just comes straight through and misses the card and drops off the map. That's got to be the worst way to lose a round ever.
You hate to see it.
Oh no.
Yeah, the classic freedom charge that just didn't quite work as planned.
I don't know if he was aiming for the cart and slid through, you know, slid off the side of it, or if he was trying to pick someone off and take them down the gap with him, but both of those
at that point
did
you were
not
just
work.
hoping to trade somewhere another, right? That did not at all work to plan.
Oh, that's painful to see. Then again, that seems like the type of thing I would do, so you know, I can't really judge.
Alright, so now we're going to switch to the attack and defense over, and it'll be interesting to see what No Ducks can do now on the attack. And whether or not it takes them as much time to actually get the point rolling in the first place. Do you remember on Numbani which team it was that really pushed through? Was it No Ducks or Meta that was able to really capture that first point in no time at all?
You know, I feel like Numbani, every time a team was attacking, they were the one that to push all the way through.
Yeah,
no, but I
definitely
feel
still
like it
was.
may have been Metacrew.
They were able to push through in that first, yeah. I think you're right.
I actually can't remember. It was too good of a match. I was too busy focusing on how well they were playing.
Alright, so what have we got here? We've got the Ryan Zaya still on defense.
Definitely a solid pick here, and we can see the Baptiste sitting up on that high ground there in the window. Out of the way ready to throw down his immortality field to save a few lives. No ducks. Couple of switches, do you think, aLL3gory?
It does seem that way. So it seems like No Ducks is going to go for the pause.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. No, they are ready. They just got the spider. I think the spider was back on Not a Weeb's desk. I think that's what it was. Just tell him, just kind of push him away, get him to go behind the screen or something and come back.
Alright, so we've got No Ducks pushing in. They use the Mabel to split the angles off and give them a better angle in. And what both teams are looking for here is to see how much they can get somebody out of position and really commit the brawl to the fight.
That's right. There's that immortality used by both teams, which means no picks. NEEKEW have lost a lot of damage. Oh, Forever drops the healer. That's gotta hurt. The wall blocks off the team though, which means that no one can really come through to help break that advantage. Muhaha takes NK 2171 back to spawn. They're just barreling right in towards the side of No Ducks Given, and it is paying off for them with a pick after pick. Unranked is deadly on that Zarya. He should have been on that to begin with. They might have won Numbani way faster.
Well, the thing is, No Ducks lost their Zarya right early in the fight, and what the problem with that as well is that not only is Zarya your tank and a big player soaking up the damage with the barriers, but also a lot of damage herself. Once that charge gets up from absorbing all the damage with her shields, she can really swing those team fights in that team's favor, and it makes a big difference losing her so early.
That's exactly right. No Ducks Given, moving around that statue right now. Immortality, Immortality Field and Amplification Matrix used, and Immortality dropped for the side of NEEKEW too. Muhaha takes the first pick. Not a Weeb as well, knocking out his opponents. Muhaha seems to be the only one doing anything on the side of No Ducks. I don't mean to sound like make it sound like his team isn't, but he seems to be looking for all of those picks, and he's currently the only one left alive right now. I think it's going to be a good idea for him to get killed, yeah, just like that, and reset with his team.
And while it may look really impressive, they're staying alive and being able to take those fights for such a long time, it does mean that once again the clock's ticking down while they're waiting for.
Oh, what is that, Grav? Just buying time on the side of that card with absolutely no damage done. That's so disrespectful.
Do you wonder if
unranked.
it was maybe a misclick? I don't know if Unranked would really be wanting to do that.
It was a very well aimed misclick if that was the case, but hey,
Maybe
you know.
maybe he still thought he was on McCree.
Oh, there's the Zenyatta ult, the Transcendent saving everyone's life. Cherry stuck in the backline. Not a Weeb takes Muhaha out of the fight, which is great. He's in the backline. He gets walled off for his trouble. No, big palm to the face. He can't even drop that McCree ult. Oh, yes, again. He takes it all to home. Forever's pouring damage straight into his Zarya shield, which ain't going to help because that damage is coming straight back at him. And again, No Ducks are forced to pull back. This seems like a really defensive favoring map, aLL3gory.
It's almost a mirror of what we saw last time. So it's interesting to see that. It seems to be the team attacking is struggling to make it work, rather than any one team having the advantage over each other in skill.
And I guess that speaks to say that both of these teams are really well balanced. If they can't, you know, if one doesn't have a very solid advantage over the other in any particular situation. Oh, there's the Death Blossom used by Muhaha. Takes Unranked out of the fight.
Overextended a little bit there. He was very far up forward.
Yeah, absolutely, with no one else behind to support him. Grav picks up both of the squishies, and they do actually get picked off on top of that wall despite everything. This might be No Ducks' chance to take the map, and it looks like they will, with the nearest player backing his way right out of that fight. aLL3gory, 20 seconds faster than NEEKEW's first push.
The thing that must be frustrating there for NEEKEW is that it doesn't really feel like No Ducks at the point, rather than that they gave it away.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of seemed like an anti-fight almost.
With Unranked being so far forward and throwing his life away early in the fight. Ooh.
Yeah, it Alder drops that shatter, but to no avail behind the wall of his own team, as a matter of fact. No Ducks are regrouping on the card, and it does move forward, but NEEKEW are here with every ult that they need to win this. Do you think Not a Weeb is going to drop that ultimate down now, or are they going to look for a grab and to swing that hammer like crazy?
I think they're going to be waiting for... Yeah, that's what we're waiting for. Waiting for the Maywall to not be able to block him off again.
Agreed. Unfortunately, the cart was there.
Yeah, that
shatter comes through.
Natural cover is what we like to call that.
That's right, yeah. And just like the Goat Stays, 0 picks come through until I say those words, in which case Muhaha and Not a Weeb trade. with one pick on each side of things. There's the May ult. She freezes something. But it's only going to be healer. No, he actually gets out with that speed boost, meaning that ult is useless apart from forcing people to back off the cart. No Ducks Given are taking space right now, aLL3gory, but NEEKEW are right around the corner and they have not been wiped out yet.
Well, the May ult really was able to finish off the May uncontested though as well. Because May had to duck into the mini heal back room to escape, and it meant she was isolated.
That's true, that's true. Graviton Surge used by NEEKEW takes 2 picks home for it. NK2171 building a bit of ult by swinging his hammer like a madman. Unranked is back again with that aim. He's just kind of unbeatable when he gets in there with Zarya. And if it isn't him, it's Depression in the backline to finish them off.
NEEKEW is very good at consolidating their advantage. They get one pick, or they get a slight pick and bit of advantage in timings or ability use early in the fight, and they're very good at snowballing that into a fight win. And it does seem like they win their fights early, even if it does take a little bit of time for it to eventuate in the battle.
Now we see italder sliding his way forwards with that shield up. Depression still on the high ground. Not a Weeb sitting on top of the cart, getting a little bit of extra range. He takes forever out of this fight, but Graviton used on the cart doesn't matter. His team are forced to pull back out of that May ult. Oh, the wall blocks the grab. That was fantastic, but there's another wall there now. His team can't back out. Muhaha takes a little look around. What happened? Why can't I move anywhere? And loses his life because of it.
Yeah, that moment where you don't realise there's a May wall behind you.
It happens to me all the time, man. So this is now looking at last fight. No Ducks Given with 10 seconds on the clock right now, and NEEKEW all over this cart like a bad smell. Wall first used, and the cart might walk backwards and break it if they're not careful. That May ult actually is kind of stuck on the top of things. I don't know if he's going to find anyone. They're already around the corner, so no, it will not. Astroblade knocks out that anti-matrix immortality field, and Muhaha's jumping in the background. Booped away, it's over, no more ult for you. Astroblade knocks him out of the fight, and it is looking like it's going in the favor of No Ducks Given. This is what they need. They need to push that card to point 2. If they stall it here too long, they give NEEKEW time to regroup.
So once again, it was a case of the same story, and they lost. NEEKEW lost their Zarya very early in the fight.
Uh-oh, what do we see here? Unranked standing still. No, he was just faking them out. He's out. I thought we saw a disconnect for a moment there.
Yeah, I was wondering. Maybe he was typing to his team. But they lost to Zarya very early in the fight, and even though that shows a long time before the fight's actually lost, it's really in that moment that it happened.
Not a Weeb knocking Sudden Night out of this fight, and italder gets that bubble, charges through. NK2171, he always seems to be there. No, italder's off the map, he's lost his way. And NK just charging forward to clean this up. You don't want to give your opponent that kind of advantage, especially not when they're NEEKEW.
Yeah, absolutely. And so NEEKEW once again seem to consolidate, and they don't throw their Zarya away at the start of the fight. They seem to do a pretty good job of holding onto the position. So maybe something they can keep an eye on in future battles.
Well, now No Ducks are sliding their way up towards this point. And again, we see 20 seconds on the clock. Oh, what a fire strike. Takes both of the healers out of the side of No Ducks Given. aLL3gory, this is the worst possible thing that could happen to you if you are No Ducks Given with 15 seconds left on the clock. I don't even think you can come back and touch. You've got to try. Reaper's there.
Hammond might be the only way, but even then it's going to get
tough.
Deleted the moment they get onto the car, and there's nothing they can do to maintain this position.
That's exactly right. He is trying to touch, but he's on his own right now with that wall and Mayo blocking off his team. He's got no support in the back here, and he is doing his absolute best. Graviton used. There's the shadow from NK2171 and the beat used by healer as well. Oh, the double fire strike again. And Hammond's off the map. That's it, aLL3gory. No one is left on the side of No Ducks Given. NEEKEW take home the map.
Well done to NEEKEW there again as well. And as I said, it was a case of they really seemed to be able to consolidate their advantage early in fights, and it was actually a case of both times. It was more that they gave away the fight to No Ducks rather than No Ducks actually took the map off them, it felt like, on King's Road. And here we'll see the double fire strike through the amplification matrix. Wonderful combo to pull it off, and they didn't look so natural and easy.
There's that play of the game, just exemplifying the cleanup from NEEKEW.
So have you been keeping track of the score?
Only that NEEKEW seem to be doing better at this point in time.
It's definitely been entertaining to watch as well. So it's good to see the different back and forth. We've gone from the double shield against Ryan battles earlier on in the evening to a much more Ryan versus Ryan combo that one round. It'll be interesting to see what they do going forward from here. Now, just looking at the chat here to see whether or not.
So I believe we are keeping the winners in, or the losers. I'm not sure which, and swapping out their opponent. So no ducks given will be maintaining their position inside of this lobby, while alternate AU are brought in to play tonight. So we will continue for a little bit longer. We may not be able to cast the entirety of the next map, just in case it goes for quite a while. Sorry, the next round of teams. However, we will bring you a little bit more entertainment as long as we can. aLL3gory, how are you finding it so far, man?
Yeah, well, as I was saying earlier, this is a bit of a first opportunity for me to see both these players, these teams, and to do a little bit of this casting position. It's been really interesting to see, but not only how fast the games flow, but also just the different metas, as I've already made mention of a couple of times, and some of our favorite maps as well to see the gameplay happen on. It's great that Zeigler Collective has given us the opportunity to jump in and piggyback off the back of their stream, and really grateful that we can be here and doing this cast with you as well, Sdogga.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I don't know if you want any feedback, but big thumbs up thus far.
Good
And
to
yeah,
know,
as you
thanks.
said, it's fantastic to be here alongside Zeigler, the Zeigler Collective, and the rest of OCE United, as we stream tonight, casting a couple of the matches hosted by the Zeigler Collective. Again, this is for the greater good of both OCE United, which is a collaboration of multiple gaming orgs inside Australia and New Zealand, and more importantly for Wires Australia, which is a charity that we all kind of really back from just about everyone I've talked to. Universally, everyone really likes what Wires is doing, and we're really pleased that it's a supported charity for things like Streamlabs now, so that we can help out in our way. So if you are interested, no matter which chat you are watching this in, whether it's OCE United, which are live on right now being run by the Zeigler Collective, or here on Koalas Esports, as I've said before, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. But also, if you type !dono or !donate into the chat, you will get a donation link to the Wires page. It's hosted by Streamlabs, and the only thing that it does in between your Pocket and Wires receiving bank account is pop up on screen. That's it. All of your donations go immediately directly through to the charity, which means that every cent that you donate right now goes directly to helping someone tomorrow. So it's a really great way to help support, just about anything that Wires is doing. And it's also fantastic because you can help everyone else here make a difference. $1, $10, $100, it doesn't matter how much it is. What you donate, it becomes part of an even bigger, difference making, I suppose, for want of a better description.
I was just actually having a look at the Streamlabs Wires page and just how well run it is and how they've managed to get a centralized location where different streamers, whether they're collaborations like ours this evening or whether they're individuals or whether they're small organizations, can quite easily use the Streamlabs to plug in and the Wires fundraising community to make a difference to an organisation such as Wires and make sure that finances and the money is getting to who it needs to get to straight away. But also that it's so easy to do now. It's been tied in. You can take and focus on the ability we have, so which is streaming, casting, and sharing this content, producing it for you, and know that Streamlabs and Wise will be taking care of the application of funding and making sure the different government bodies and regulations are all in place to make sure that can be utilised effectively. And it lets each of the different people focus on their own skills, and all in all, it leads to a better result for everybody involved, and we can recover from the bushfires more rapidly.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and I agree with that. Just even from the point of view of less stops in between. You know, the faster we get our funds over to the people that need it, the more we can help them out. You know, not to say that any delay is not going to be helpful, because there's going to be a lot of recovery to do even after the end of this horrible bushfire season. But the more that we can get people while they need it, the better it is. And I just feel better, you know. I feel like you can sleep easier at night, I suppose, knowing that the difference I can make is already doing its thing.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to the stream and you're not a streamer or you're not a caster, there are other ways that Wise lets you help out as well. So if you look at their website on wise.org.au, you can become a virtual carer. You can sign up for their information to see what else is in your location. You can donate, or you can volunteer and rescue animals through the organization as well. So while we absolutely appreciate you being here and being able to listen to us, and once again recommend that you jump over to the main OCEUnited stream to watch the event live there, because that's the main collaboration for the evening, and more of that to come tomorrow. There are other ways you can jump in and help out with Wise as well if you really like the organization.
Initiating match.
Well, that is exactly right. And you can go to their website to actually see who they partner with and who they recommend helping, and who they help themselves. So if there is someone, you know, a charity or an organization local to you that you would rather support, you know, perhaps the RSPCA, the Koala Hospital, like we did the other weekend with the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital. I know there's one here in Adelaide I would like to help out as well. Any of those animal-centric or bushfire-centric organizations more or less are supported and helped out by Wires. So you can go to them directly if you'd like, get your support where you want it to be, and still make a great difference.
Absolutely. All right, so moving up, we're on to Ilios. And it looks like we're starting with Ruins.
Getting set up on Ruins, and what would it be without a quick pause right on the 5 timer? 4.9 seconds to be precise. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Couple people leaving. That's not good. This seems even though. 5 players on each side. We can continue.
Exactly, just make it more of an instant deathmatch kind of map, and make it the pillared in the center area only.
Yeah, exactly. Done. Might not play all too well, given that as soon as one person caps, not sure anyone else can. But hey, who cares? Don't worry about it.
So for those that were here earlier, we would have seen the other control map at the beginning of the stream for Basan. So this is a similar concept in that the objective is to hold the middle ground, be the king of the hill, so the central objective, which is why it's called control. And so the teams will be re-swinging at either end of the map and pushing through to maintain objectives. And it'll be interesting to see the back and forth, and it really forces battles onto one location rather than the different kind of scattered battles you can see on other forms of the objectives.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I believe they have their players about to rejoin us. I'm fairly certain. Just keeping an eye on the Discord channels in the background while these guys get themselves up and ready to go. So while we sit and wait, once again, guys, this is Koalas Esports. We are live right now helping to support Wires. But even more importantly than us, please go ahead and jump over to the OCEUnited Twitch channel. They are linked in every single org that is a part of of our collaboration here, and you can find them on Twitch at OCEUnited. They are live right now with the exact same event that we are casting over here on Koalas Esports in our little corner. They are being cast by the Zeigler Collective. They are being streamed by the Zeigler Collective, a great little organization based in Australia. And all together, collaboratively, over this weekend, we are actually working together to bring you 3 full days of 12-hour-long streams. We started yesterday, obviously not quite as long as 12 hours yesterday because it was Friday, and a lot of people do have a job that they have to do, but all day today from 12 o'clock right through to midnight, and tomorrow the same time from 12 till 12 we will be live, all for the good of Wires and aLL3gory. Here we are now on Ilios Ruins, getting the game ready to go, and
Very pretty map this one as well. Lots of uneven
isn't it
ground
great?
and yeah. I'm just
Oh,
looking
it's so
over the
good.
coast as well. I just imagine, you know, don't worry about the objective here in the middle. Let's just go for a nice little cruise on the liners
Yeah,
out there rotating.
just turn the map around. Just turn the camera around, look outside, you know. If it were possible to have a holiday, you know, or a getaway in Overwatch, this would be where I'd go. You know, like a heavy sandwich party, except in Overwatch.
Sounds pretty good to me. So it does look like no
Speaking
ducks.
of, speaking of
Fairly
putting
early,
good there.
but
Well, that's right. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a mixed bag of fights right now. But aLL3gory, the first team to take the advantage on the point is actually NEEKEW with Zenyatta sitting in the back corner. Really disconnected fight right there. They took a couple picks and then they moved back a little bit, and a couple of people respawning. Of course,
yeah, I
this
really
being
thought that battle
controlled
was
there
going to
is...
go the other way. To begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah, exactly. And now, of course, this being control, there is a advantage to neither team on this map. The only disadvantage is that if you get wiped out, you go back to respawn. So, unlike the other 2 maps that we were watching, there is no difference in distance in terms of the spawns here. I'm not quite sure what No Ducks Given are doing right now. They seem to be sort of taking their time to move in, but a lot of NEEKEW are just standing around waiting.
It's
sorry, not
actually
NEEKEW,
alternate yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
That's absolutely fine. I was actually looking for the team name just to double check that I could get that right as well, so perfectly good. And it does seem like alternates are easily holding this point. And unfortunately, Muhaha misses on this pulse grenade there, and we have another reset, and No Ducks will have to see what they can do to get this point flipped before it gets too late.
Yeah, and that is a full restart on the side of No Ducks Given.
They swapped into the McCree as well to give them that little bit more range damage.
Hopefully this is the pick that makes the difference for them, because they are playing into a disadvantage right now in that the point is slowly rolling its way through to 85%, which is the magic number when you're talking about control points. 85% typically being the timer that depicts whether or not you've got time to come back after a loss. Muhaha picking up Tafiki is going to help a lot though, and alternate AU seem to be losing this fight right at the last second. It's exactly what No Ducks need.
One thing that McCree in the backline did help is every time the Hammond went to roll, the Wrecking Ball went to roll through, McCree was able to flashbang and hold him in position for that little bit longer to put that higher amount of damage onto the Wrecking Ball. I mean, it just wasn't as free to get into the backline as constantly.
Oh,
However,
no,
Tafiki takes out Baptiste.
Tafiki takes out Cherry, yeah, that's right, and he's got that, not Deadeye, I can't think of the right word, but he is locked on with his sights onto Lucio. Dearlock dropping in, Tafiki takes another pick home, and Takumi is there to clean up as well, which means No Ducks are going to lose this. And as I said earlier, once you get past that 85%, it's really, really hard to get back in time to touch the point. They may manage it if they're careful, but it's going to be really tough for them to get on. Baptiste getting jumped in the air, and Winston flies in just a little bit too late, unfortunately. The point goes in favor of alternate AU.
The McCree swap definitely seemed to help, but it did seem like they'd lost a lot of the map before that as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they do this time around.
And now coming within the 10-second mark. Here we go, getting set up for round 2 of the battle on Ilios. The first point going in favor of alternate AU. No Darks given now need to come up with a good strategy to beat alternate AU on this map. This is Ilios Lighthouse, so while there is a lot of cliff to use to their advantage, there is not a huge toilet bowl in the middle of the map. Ellen Closure? Sorry, I don't know how to read names. Ellen score.
Ellen score, yes. So we've got the pharmacy battle going on here.
Correct, yeah, has actually managed to take that first pick, but Sudden Night back on that pharmacy. We saw it on Mimbani and we're seeing it again now. Just deadly and so far uncontested. Ellen though, another 2 picks for him. And Cherie is there to help even it out. It seems like this point might, almost go in the favor of alternate AU, but Muhaha is back again on that well-renowned Tracer. Cleans out a bit of this map.
Definitely seems like the open skies of Ilios really play to the strengths of the Pharmacy combo. And it's going to be really a case of which team can get the most out of that aerial threat.
Forever moving his way up the map and trying to get a little bit of damage done. It's working because Muhaha is able to slide in the background as well and take Shaitan out of this match. Muhaha also has that pulse bomb online, so it's going to be interesting to see how well it works for him trying to stop this next push. Pulse bomb is a great way to deter another push by taking 1 or even 2 players out of the map, but L_ is already there with Doshi. Justice used, gets picked off, but does take Idolda home all the way back to spawn for the price of 1 life. Durlock in the background cleaning things up for alternate AU. This may not be it for No Ducks given as more and more of their players drop out. Bull just jumping around holding on to this point, but it doesn't matter because Durlock is there to do the same thing for alternate.
It was really interesting there is that both DPS players for alternate AU dropped their alternate pretty much as soon as they could use them in the fight as well. There was no hesitation, so it really turned the fight into the longer term.
Agreed. Yeah, sometimes that's the best way to do it. Just ult before the enemy has a chance to think. If you think too much about it, you give the enemy time to think a lot about it, and that might just give them a better idea than yours. Muhaha knocking Shaitan out of this fight. That's gotta hurt given the fact that Shaitan is trying to build back up to a Transcendence. Sudden Night blasting ult straight up in the air, but Durlock is there with those mines on the ground, taking Cherie out of this fight. Resurrect used, brings Cherie back, and now No Ducks given have the player advantage, but not for long because Shaitan takes Muhaha once again out of this fight. Wrecking Ball is just booping everyone all over the place. Immortality used too late for the sake of it. Alternate AU are powerful on this point right now, with that Pharah still doing plenty of work, but not able to touch the point.
They're doing a really good job of pretty much forcing No Ducks given into a pincer position where they've got damage on one side, damage on the other, and they're forcing the fight in the center. And No Ducks are just copying damage from every direction.
Yeah, agreed. And aLL3gory, what we saw last round was a very uneven match that went almost all the way up to the end of the game on one side before the opponent even had a chance to touch. Now we're seeing something very balanced. You know, 50% for No Ducks given, 83% for alternate AU. Of course, they have an advantage, but if No Ducks can play well, they could still win this round.
Let's hope No Ducks does as well, because it's good to see to the next map of this, which will be a really fun map that can go either way. It'd be nice to get to that one.
There's Transcendence, used by Shaitan early on to keep his team alive. It seems to work for L_, who takes Cherry home, but no Ducks are there on the point as well with those mines. Muhaha, takes Tukami home. Tukami after cleaning up Doshi. This is all over the place right now with picks coming left, right, and center, but those mines are still there and doing their work on Shaitan. That's no healing now for the side of alternate AU, and we may see the points start to build time for No Ducks given. Mines are used, but Winston's able to clean those out with that lightning cannon. Great for disabling electronics, electricity.
The old Tesla cannon, yep, always a good one to have. So the advantage of being a genius research monkey, I guess.
It will knock out your mines and slash all your mobile. You might not want to have that in your pocket while you're, playing. Just FYI.
So you can see Tafiki switched over to the Tracer now, is really causing havoc in the back lines.
Yeah, this is working really well for alternate AU, but they want to jump on that point soon. because they've got all the advantage in the world right now, and they need to use it. Durlov
Yeah.
just completely cleaning this map off, and as a matter of fact, Forever is the only person left able to do anything here. Touching the point, dropping the mines come up, they do damage, but it doesn't matter, there's no one else able to touch the point. The point does flip in the favor of alternate AU, but NODUX just staggering in right now, one after another, trying to hold this. They're not able to. And NEEKEW resurrects Showdown, who does have a lot of damage to do. Trying to build that ult up. It's not going to happen. NODUX keep getting picked off. They are touching, but not for long. Overtime's about to start ticking down, with Forever just rolling through the point. Alternate AU are just completely alternating everything that they do right now. Muhaha still trying to touch. He drops the pulse bomb. It does not take any kills home. And finally, there is the end of the map. Alternate AU winning the round.
And they did that really well. They executed cleanly. They took some great fights, and even though it was close for a long time there in the middle, NODUX eventually just seemed to lose out on longer fights when there wasn't an ultimate involved. Let's see the play of the game here as well. Oh, look at that.
Oh, no.
A boop like that's always going to hurt.
Oh, God. Knocking two people off the map. Yeah, that was really what changed the advantage over there for alternate AU.
Bit of a shame we don't get to see well, but that's the way it goes.
That's all right. Alternate AU definitely must be happy with the fact that they're not going on to see well, because they take the first point home in this round.
Alright, so now we'll be looking for the next map, and be interesting to see, as I say, whether or not the teams stick to mostly meta combinations and things that are going to be effective, or whether we see any sort of fun picks, something really out there with some Bastions or some Symmetras or something like that. Kind of stuff you're going to see in your pugs that you really, in your quick play games that you really wish you didn't sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to see some of those type of compositions played. And believe it or not, I'm sure that some of these players, some of these teams can run them without them being, quote unquote, throws or anything like that. Because, the better you can aim on an off hero, the less, or at least the better you can play with the advantages that you're given by an off hero, the less of a disadvantage you can get out of it. Imagine playing snipers into double shields. You might think that's not exactly the world's best choice, but if you can play flanks really well, if you know how to get out of damage, and of course you can very, very quickly jump out of cover, take a pick, hit someone in the head, and then get the hell out of dodge, the better that you will help out your team. And it looks like we might move over to Rialto right now, aLL3gory. I'm pleased to see Rialto. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, now this is more of a classic one we haven't seen so far this evening. And it'll be a bit more obvious once we get into the map to see what it's like. But this is an escort map from the beginning. So instead of having to unlock the objective halfway through the map and push it to the end, you're pushing it from the beginning. So you've really got to escort, as the map is called, the objective all the way from one end to the other.
Quite right, yes. And if you remember some of the maps that we saw before where advantages and disadvantages came from the distance between spawn and the point, these maps also work in a very similar way, where in the early parts, the attackers, the people who want to push the cart, get an advantage with their spawn being very, very close, but as they push, it gets further and further away until the defenders are right there where the cart is. So even though it's uneven to begin with, the map itself is even as you play through it.
So once we get into the map, it'll be interesting to see whether or not we have a situation where all the players stay on the same roles, or whether the players swap their roles up around a bit as well. This map does open itself up to some longer sightlines, and so by that, some positions where a character such as a sniper class character, such as Widowmaker or Hanzo, could set up with a longer distance and still be able to make a high impact on the match by being able to pour damage out from those further away spots.
And it wouldn't be a match tonight without someone disconnecting at the start of the round. It's almost exactly the same time it was last time. So give us just a moment while Doshi jumps back in. But this does give you a moment to continue explaining the map if you'd like, aLL3gory.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely that. So it's a bit hard while the game's paused to do that, but because the different distances are so much more pronounced. So in previous maps we've seen this evening, they've been mostly short range to mid range brawling maps. So because the objective is on a control point or you're forced into close quarters combat, it brings the heroes you want to use in those situations have to be a bit of combination of being able to do damage and being able to survive in those battles as well. This gives the option for some real glass cannon kind of approach heroes, which do lots of damage but don't really want to be involved in taking damage at the same time, and might see some different styles of play as a result of that.
And that's probably part of where you can see, or where you can experience, those off picks that we were talking about before, because you can. What am I trying to say? Because the whole glass cannon aspect of it, as you said, kind of plays around the way you play the map. It's less of a bad pick when you have these flip-flopped advantage and disadvantage style maps, so long as you play in the right way. Does that make sense?
Sure does. Let me just see. Oh, looks like we have Doshi joining back in there as well, which is great. And you're exactly right. It means that different players are going to have different strengths with the hero pools as well, and different mechanical skills such as being able to aim and being able to read where the game is going to play require different interpretations of projectiles and movement when you change the distance of the engagement up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what opens it up to different styles of heroes, whether it be a flanky tracer or a long-ranged widowmaker or Ashe. So early on here, aLL3gory, we can see alternate AU on the side, on the red side of things, with Takumi and Durlock looking at a little bit of a mismatched style of tank. You've got Orisa, who's very good at staying still and locking down, as well as that Holt, playing with a Wrecking Ball, who's all about mobility and knocking the opponent out of the way. On the other side of things, we've got more of a classic Holt hook combination in those tanks. What do you foresee happening here?
So on defense, NoDucks are really going to be looking to play around with this water in the beginning area, looking for either some relocations or to get people out of position. The far mercier on attack is really going to make it difficult for them in this position, especially because Hanzo, while he's good at doing long range holds and raining damage down from far at the snap class, he struggles a little bit to really deal with that Pharah in the sky.
Speaking of that Pharah in the sky, the first Pharah takes the second out with Tafiki knocking Muhaha out of this fight right now. Takumi did have a opportunity to take the Immortality field down, but right now NoDucks are just sort of pulling back and being a little bit spacious around this card, with alternate AU just pushing all the way through. In fact, there wasn't even really a fight there, aLL3gory, but they're almost 2.1 already.
So this is a challenge NoDucks had there as well, is they did their best to not fall back too much, but by doing that, what they really did is they didn't slow the card down at all, and then they just staggered their deaths once it really became an intense location. I feel like they probably would have been better off just dropping back much more firmly to begin with.
Oh, and Tafiki inside of that room where those people who died first and respawned inside of the first spawn was still stuck. That's got to really hurt if you're NoDucks, because that card keeps on a rolling.
And this is what you call a classic snowball situation, where the attacking team has all the momentum and they can just keep picking fights in whenever they want to, and it makes it very hard as a defending team to ever really catch your breath and figure out what's happening.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see that happening right now with those mines coming through. The Pharah just completely raining pain down the whole time. Hole coming out right now from Forever. He's doing his best, but he walks over the Molten Core and loses a ton of health. He drops, Cart moves all the way to second point, uncontested. aLL3gory, something's got to happen here. Or NoDucks are going to be looking at themselves right at the doors of their last spawn without even stopping the cart once.
I like what NoDucks has done here in switching over to Sombra to do it as a counter to some of this combination, but all that Sombra's done so far is run around the back of the map and hasn't really been able to contribute at all. And considering Sombra wants to be building up EMP to take a decisive fight, and the fact that Sombra's still only at 48% at this point, really just shows that the swap hasn't been very effective.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It definitely seems to be reflected in the fact that they can't really get a foothold in. You know, that Wrecking Ball is rolling around in the background and just never really stopping. Meanwhile, Sudden Knight is able to knock Anarchy out of the sky, which is great. No Ducks have a bit of an advantage here, and naturally they should. Their spawn door is right there, but they need to get in and start doing some damage. Otherwise, their opponents will come back. There's the barrage come through and knocks aLL3gory out of the fight. Forever's still here on card, but they're not getting enough of an advantage to clear this out, and as you said earlier, catch a breath.
They're coming up to the EMP, so they should be able to hold the next fight from here fairly easily as well, depending on the order in which the ultimates are released. But I do think the Sombra in this situation works much better in a defensive way, with behind the Hog and behind the Orisa to counter-hack the Wrecking Ball every time it wants to go in.
Yeah, I really like that, and it's a lot more safer here as well where numbers count. Speaking of safer, aLL3gory is not safe right now in the middle of those mines, but it doesn't matter because Derok gets knocked out and Forever is on the other side pouring that whole hog in. This should go in favor of No Ducks, but it doesn't look like it's going to just yet, with Alternate AU sitting right outside the doors there.
Yeah, that Torbjorn's getting a lot of value, just being able to have multiple. It's like having a second hero in some ways.
There's the EMP. This is great for the side of No Ducks, but no one's alive to take any advantage of it. There's no damage coming out, and believe it or not, that's the end of that round.
Very quick push there in the end, and once the momentum started, the snowball rolled through, and they just kept losing a couple of key fights and staggers. It makes it very hard to stabilize, and that's really what can happen on this map.
Yeah, too true. aLL3gory, they had a lot of really great attempts for the side of No Ducks given, but let's be honest, that really seemed all like it was Alternate AU's fight to win. You know, they pushed all the way from the beginning straight through, almost all the way to the third point without even really being contested. Do you think they're going to be able to do that again, or in this case, you know, full hold the opponent before they even get to point 2, or will No Ducks flip this on its head and do the same thing to Alternate?
Yeah, it'll remain to be seen. I think we've seen No Ducks play really well earlier this evening, so hopefully they can find some form and flip this around. However, Alternate has come into the game and seems to be just that step above when No Ducks is given. They dominated quite well on Ilios, and it seems to be a pretty confident push there as well. The main thing I'd like to see No Ducks do is potentially not just to play out the matchups a little bit longer. I feel like they potentially reaction swapped a bit too soon into something that didn't work quite as well with the Sombra. The idea was there, but the execution was just a little bit short. Whereas maybe they could have played out the hero combinations they had and just seen if they could have made some execution skill that the ultimates build up and make ground that way.
Yeah, or maybe even at least to have made that switch a little bit more, not intelligently, because I don't mean to say they don't know what they're doing, but just, you know, kind of foreseen the way the cart was moving and make that switch earlier. However, with that said, here is double shield on the side of No Ducks given, and looking at a Orisa Diva composition for Alternate AU.
Yeah, looking for the boot, doesn't quite pull it off.
No Ducks given, sort of rolling this card forwards. No picks so far, apart from the Immortality field, which is the best thing to lose if you're going to have an Immortality field up. Wall there to protect, but Derok does take that boop all the way to its conclusion, knocking aLL3gory off the map, and straight away you can see No Ducks given sort of falter a little bit without that main tank to anchor them down. The opponent's Alternate AU just jumping all over No Ducks given right now, and Tafiki takes that fight. It is good that he takes that pick, but right now, No Ducks even just really need to kind of knock a couple of key players out. Oh, there's the barrage, and it knocks Doshi out of this. This is not what you want if you're No Ducks given.
That Torbjorn turret around the corner just makes it difficult for the Pharmacy on the side of No Ducks to really get ground without having to then donate some rockets to that. And when you've only got those certain number of rockets before a reload, it's a difficulty having to choose whether to target the turret We're to keep focusing on the other heroes.
Yeah, exactly. aLL3gory, I'm not even convinced that they should be running Pharmacy at this point. It doesn't seem to be working too much for them. Although, with that said, Sudden Knight on the McCree seems to be working, taking Takumi home out of this fight. aLL3 is there to knock Shaitan out. This might be it right now, although they do let Takumi get rezzed right now. That's a lot of free ultimate for the side of NoDucks given, who can just completely wipe them out without any help really from Ultimate AU.
Well, this is what I'm saying. The Pharmacy, while it can struggle at times, it does have a great boom or bust kind of potential because you can get that barrage, and if you can get a couple of picks with it, it can instantly turn a fight. And there's a lot of damage raining down constantly throughout the battle. So the Pharmacy rockets, they make it easier for McCree to finish off the kills. So it's not a bad combination. It's just gotta find the form, warm up to his groove, and start winning these duels against Tafiki.
Well, that's true, and oh boy, where did he come from with Ellen? I still can't pronounce that name. Coming all the way around from behind with the Tourbillon Molten Core. Tafiki Justice reigns from above and cleans out point one.
Great work there though by Forever to stay undercover and get that car push through, even with the Pharmacy hovering just above. That's a case where it's just showing that objective play over mechanical skill can sometimes still get you the result.
Yeah, that's exactly right. aLL3 does drop Tafiki out of the sky and plops them down into the water there, which is, you know, great for NoDucks given. They get to push forward a little bit. Unfortunately, aLL3gory, as you can see now, at this point for the last push, when Alternate AU were pushing the cart, they had 3 on cart, and they were pushed all the way up to where NoDucks are now, but the cart was moving way faster. It's coming around the corner now, but Alternate AU are all there ready to fight.
We're probably going to see a Diva Bomb. There we go.
There's the Diva Bomb, but it's going to get blocked by the card. Gets no kills. aLL3 is there in that fortified. Tafiki takes Sudden Knight out of the fight, which is okay if you are Ultimate AU, sorry. Cherry's able to res it, but Tafiki takes Muhar out of it while you're at it, and Sudden Knight says good night to Tafiki. This seems to be flipping back in favor of Ultimate AU, but no Thanksgiving is still there. If they can take some picks and get back on that cart, they should be okay here. It's really just a turret and a baby Diva left, but she's getting healed from Mercy. Mercy, you're going to want to get out of here, man.
I do like the Diva swap though, as an extra challenge for the Pharmacy to have to deal with. Yeah, constantly flying into the face of the Pharmacy when your Pharmacy is already consistently winning.
Oh no! There's that Nano with the barrage. It takes forever home, and Takumi's coming through with their kill, aLL3gory. This is just straight back over to Alternate AU right as the cart was coming towards the end. NoDucks given. Bye. They're gone.
And this is actually the worst case scenario for NoDucks as well, because Alternates held the cart as close to the point, so as close to their spawn as possible, which means NoDucks has the longest distance to then get back to take fights. And it gives Alternate as much time to pick the fight on their terms as they want. You can see here, they're just set up on the high ground on their side of the bridge. And look at the amount of free damage that Tafiki's able to get in.
That's right. Yeah, he's just kind of going ham as much as he wants over there, and is not really contested at any point. You know, Muhaha is trying to take that fight, but oh, and there's a rocket on the side of the building knocking a NEEKEW out of it, which is going to help. But they're still kind of split right now. NoDucks are doing their best, and they're coming through the top, but if they're not careful, that Pharaoh will get picked, which is great. Stuck behind that shield right now. Tourbillon Ultimate comes through, with, dropping the Molten Core all over the place. aLL3 doesn't want to stand in there for too long, and Sudden Knight knocks aL out of this fight. They may push the cart through, but Alternate AU is still there to contest this the whole time, no matter who gets picked out where.
There was both DPS ults on the side of NoDucks as well.
And now look at who has that ultimate advantage to spare. NoDucks coming through with the Sigma ultimate and the Mercy support as well. That turret is still just sitting there the whole time.
Southern Knight did really well there, just really closing up those kills.
Unfortunately, this is the part where it gets even tougher for NoDucks, which is not a good sign because they're pushing directly towards the final spawn of Alternate AU. And Alternate's got 3 ultimates online right now, with a 4th not far away. NoDucks have 2, and a 3rd on the way. This is looking like a bit of a disadvantage, but that card is still moving, aLL3gory.
That's the important thing. You gotta make sure you always keep on the objective.
Damage boost, but no, Alternate just gonna wait. And this is something important to point out, that no matter how far the cart moves right now, it actually doesn't really matter all that much until it gets to a point. So Alternate can afford to wait out that damage boost, and it doesn't really matter. And it matters because Tafiki takes 3 home right now with that McCree, just headshotting after headshotting. A 4th goes home with Sudden Night getting knocked out, and Muhaha just knocks himself out in the process. This is a great chance for them to reset, but this is a really bad occurrence for No Ducks, because Alternate AU have free reign to get themselves set up on card.
Such a good feeling when you've got damage boost from a Mercy on a McCree and you can just sit there and click a few heads and watch people disappear.
Not something I understand as a tank main myself, but I'm sure it is great. Those Q times deny me the ability to play that type of hero.
Yeah, I suppose you really don't spend that much time getting damage boosted on an Orisa.
Unfortunately not.
It would work pretty well. Orisa headshots do some damage.
Well, that's true, yeah. They definitely do, especially if you get to walk straight up to someone and, you know, zero blank them. Point blank them, that's the word.
Fusion driver.
Oh no, No Ducks are getting picked all up in the air. Oh, the Justice comes through, but it doesn't matter because he gets slammed down into the ground, and Shaitan takes 2 picks with Tafiki cleaning up the rest. This is really bad. A minute has passed in the time of 1 fight for No Ducks. And naturally, a couple of switches are coming through. They need to get back on this card, and this is going to be their last chance to do so.
It's going to be interesting to see if they even make it there in time. They've got a lot of ground to cover.
That they do.
And only 9 seconds to do it.
Rotten Call coming through, cleaning out that cart. Giving you a little bit of a, you know, solve my 3 riddles if you want to cross the bridge. They do touch the cart, but not for long. Forever picking his opponent up, slamming them back down. No picks right now, and unfortunately the only picks coming through are coming through on the side of Alternate AU. No Ducks have no one left to touch the point. It's over. Overtime is gone, and Alternate AU win the match.
So one thing I did ask for was some unusual hero picks, and Alternate managed to do both the attack and defense with the Torbjorn. It's something you don't often see.
There you go. It worked pretty well.
Yeah, it worked out really well, in fact. And
here we see
meta heroes are all good when it comes down to
no.
look at these.
Look at this from Tafiki. Oh boy.
Yeah, that damage boost makes such a difference. That's a pretty exciting moment right there.
That's how we do it.
What a match we just saw from Alternate AU.
74% kill participation from Tafiki. That's phenomenal.
And that just goes to show just how much he completely dominated that fight. From a DPS perspective, he was the leader, I suppose you could say, in terms of dealing damage and picking targets and so on and so forth. So I don't know if you call that uncontested or just outplayed, but either way, that Pharah really did dominate that match.
It was really, really interesting, entertaining to watch as well. And with the Pharah versus Pharah duels and the Pharah Mercy combinations, it's such a more difficult kind of DPS duel than most of the other matchups, in that you're fighting in 3 dimensions because you've got the verticality of being in the air as well.
Exactly.
When you're dominating that duel as easily as Tafiki seemed to be as well, it just shows, and as he's saying in the chat, he's just having a good day. He's probably been quite modest there as well, but it is one. Sometimes you're just in the groove and those rockets hit, and that makes it all much easier.
Well, it was a good day that paid off for his team, because Takumi was one of the reasons that Alternate AU looked so dominant going up against No Ducks there.
Absolutely, it made such a difference. And it just shows, like, Southern Night was having a great night, Southern Night, earlier in the evening, and all of a sudden the dynamic has shifted.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Sudden Night definitely did try and do some damage and try and do the same thing that Takumi was and L_ was, but it just didn't quite have the same potency as Takumi's ability to play with McCree. And I suppose he also had the support of the Mercy there. You know, when you've got Torbjorn in the backline, who is a lot more tanky than other DPS, and also D.Va, who can deny a bunch of damage, and Orisa's Fortify, and so on and so forth. I guess you don't need to worry too much about having Mercy just heal, and you can afford to damage boost McCree, which means it plays right into the Takumi's playstyle, which is obviously to do a lot of damage and you know, set your opponent off the kilter, I suppose.
Absolutely, makes such a difference. So it does look like we're doing another team swap. Alternate AU move out. I'm just seeing, making sense of the chat here as well.
That's right. Yeah, no ducks. I think are going to jump out after this alternate with the win, and a well-deserving win. That's exactly right. So that is the end of the match there, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to finish off from our end here. We were only going to stream maybe 2 matches altogether, and I think we've done. I think it's been 2 really good matches to watch, if you ask me. But the night isn't ending here, ladies and gentlemen. Just because we are finishing off on our end does not mean the stream is ending. In fact, the stream will be going all the way up until midnight, AEDT, that's Australian Eastern Daylight Time, over on the main channel, OCEUnited. Please, I encourage you, I implore you, if you are watching on the Koalas Esports channel, jump on over and give our guys over at the Zeigler Collective some love. Show them that you're enjoying the stream. And, pull out a few bucks and send a donation the way of Wires AU. Everything that we're doing tonight, whether you're on this channel or OCEUnited, and everything we're doing this weekend is all for the good of Wires. All donations go directly to them without stopping anywhere in between. It's all for a really great cause, and we want to do our best to support them and show the world that we can make a big difference. So that'll be it from us tonight. aLL3gory, what a great set of matches. Did you have fun?
I did very much indeed, Sdogga. Appreciate that as well. And it was really good to see not only the different teams on display and just the execution at this level, but also just some of the different combinations of heroes we saw in some of the different maps. And it'll be good to see as the night goes on through the OC stream, just to whether or not we get to see the whole map pool over the course of the evening, and maybe even the whole hero roster as well. Definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm going to stick around and keep watching. This has been so much fun to cast. It's been great casting alongside you tonight. And again, thank you so much for joining me. As well, thank you to Blob, who has been here actually all day. For anyone who has been watching the OCEUnited channel, earlier on, the 3 of us jumped in together and ran a stream on that channel. We had some fun playing Scriblio and the Jackbox Party Packs earlier on. And here we are again, casting. It's your first time casting, so I hope you had a great time, aLL3gory.
Did indeed.
I'm
Before we
just the
jump
same
off,
old rusty dude that I've always been, so don't worry about me.
I was going to say maybe you'd want to do a bit of a plug for what we've got coming up for the Koala side of things tomorrow's stream as well.
Well, certainly. As I said earlier, we are streaming for 3 days over on OCEUnited, and tomorrow night, in collaboration with Succ Gaming, we are closing out the show with I guess an inter-org show match. So each org has provided at least 1 or 2 teams. There are going to be 3 teams playing from Koalas, just because of availabilities and so on. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m. AEDT on the OCEUnited channel, we will all be going live, including myself, aLL3gory, Temporal, Damo, and the one and only wonderful Kit Fox, along with who else have we got joining us? Temporal, we've got Chris Riffs jumping along as well. Cooper will be joining us. A couple of players from past teams in Koalas Esports. And we will all be casting the matches held tomorrow night. We're going to have teams like Bam Finger Guns, Pegasus. Who else are we going to have? What's their name? I can't think of them.
You've said the ones that I knew the name of. I was focused on Bam Finger.
I guess I've said the only 2 that matter, hey? We will actually have Metacrew that you saw playing tonight, playing tomorrow night, as well as a team called Noah's Ark, which is a team in Koalas Esports. Succ will be providing some teams.
Just step their game up as well then. That'll be good.
Yeah, that they will. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible show match. It's going to be playing all the way from Gold up to Masters. So no matter what your rank, come along, join us. You'll be able to see gameplay in your own sort of sphere of the Overwatch world. But as I said, most importantly, it is all for the benefit of Wires AU. So it's going to be great fun. Please come along and show your support. So show your support, and even more importantly, make a few donations. So
yeah, I'll do a final run through just for those that weren't aware. So Wires is the New South Wales Wildlife Information Rescue and Education Service, and rescuing and caring for wildlife for over 30 years. And obviously, with the bushfire season that's been gripping Australia for months now, they've been inundated with support, which is great to see. But it's good to know that we as a community can still contribute something towards them as well. So whether you can donate financially or you can donate your time, we appreciate that all the same.
That is exactly right. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much, or even if you can't afford to donate, but you can afford to share the word. Everyone that we tell about the event, everyone that we are able to help just by spreading the word that we are doing positive things makes a difference, and that's what really matters: making a difference in people's lives, making a positive difference where we can.
Perfect.
So, guys, that will be it from us. We're going to leave now before the next match gets started. Please jump over to OCEUnited. Keep watching the fun there. And from us, thank you so much for watching on Koalas Esports. I have been Sdogga Man alongside aLL3gory and Blob. And we will see you over on the OCEUnited channel.
Thanks, guys.